The book I chose for this book report is Drive by Dan Pink. What stood out to me the most before reading it and getting deep into the novel was the title itself. I wanted to see what Drive was all about. Reading the synopsis and reading about the author before I chose the novel for this book project was a big part of this. It was motivation to me is has been a very large factor in my life as far as just doing things goes. It started from a point of real low motivation to high motivation. So what I'm going to try to do is try to explain this book's top 3 points, and as well related to my life then and my life now as well. So the first thing that Dan Pink describes in this novel is that motivation is intrinsic. Intrinsic meaning in your mindset you want to do it. It's not something that you're forced to do, and it's not something that requires any type of reward at all. So he has three general steps to uh, a motivator, what drives somebody, what motivates somebody. The first one being that it's intrinsic. It's intrinsic, it's within yourself, it's within your heart. You want to do it. Two is that you want to master it. There's a mastery aspect to it that when you find something you like to do, you want to get better at it. And number three being that purpose. Purpose is basically acknowledging that what you're doing serves a bigger purpose than yourself. It's far from the intrinsic motivation part of it, but I'll discuss the differences afterwards. So, the first point that he hits that he talks about is intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation meaning that you want to do it, it's something that you want to do in your heart. I like to think of it as a childish instinct, like your childish brain working. It's basically, I want to do this because I love to do it. I enjoy doing it. It's fun to do. And that is regardless of rewards. Rewards, I feel like in these days play a big part. Rewards and recognition. People want to be recognized. People want to be rewarded for something because they're good at it. But at the end of the day, that's not intrinsic. If you're doing something because of the paycheck, if you're doing something because you get rewarded for it and you get an extreme amount of clout from it, it's not something that you want to do. It's something that you just want to drown in the benefits of. So that's not intrinsic. But intrinsic motivation is regardless of all that, you love to do it, you want to do it. And I feel like in college, that's like a big part of like choosing your career path and wanting to see what you want to do. If you are trying to do something that doesn't pay much, but you love to do it and you take that risk and you do it, that's intrinsic motivation. That's you saying, regardless of the rewards, this is what I want to do. Regardless of recognition, this is what I want to do. The second part is mastery. Once you find that thing that you love to do, you want to master it, you want to get better at it. And that includes making mistakes. A lot of people, they're scared to make mistakes. They don't want to make mistakes. They want to be perfect every single time. But that on the road to really mastering something, that's a big part of it. You have to fail to get up because there's got to be minor setbacks for major comebacks. And I feel like that's what some people don't try to take in too much and they try to be perfect like first time, every time. But wanting to master that thing that you're intrinsically motivated to do requires mistakes and requires learning from them. And that requires you wanting to learn from those mistakes. That doesn't mean you want to make mistakes. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you realize that when you make mistakes, it is the process. It is in the process of getting better, and that's the mastery side of it. It's just you getting better at what you want to do. The third aspect is purpose. Purpose to me, it's like tight knitted with intrinsic motivation, but there's a little difference to it. Intrinsic motivation, I like to feel like, is more selfish. It's more you centered. It's more, this is what I want to do. This is what I love. And purpose is more of a, there is something beyond me that I'm doing this for. And that is, no matter if you're a religious person or not, it could be religion. It could be that God has this plan for you and he wants you to do it. And it's going to affect the other people around you, and it's going to put God in them as well. But for people who aren't based on faith, it can be this, what I'm doing is basically helping everyone out. It's motivating others and it's helping others make the world a better place, and that's purpose. And personally, I like to say how drive really relates to my life is that early on I had no motivation really to do anything because I found nothing that I was intrinsically motivated in. But once I started digging in deeper to things that I really appreciated and that I really liked, I started to really feel them, really started to get a groove on, really started to like feel them more. And once I started to do that, I wanted to master them. I wanted to learn. Mistakes were made. I thrived in those mistakes because I realized that those mistakes was the first step to the road of mastery. And after that, I realized that basically this is what God wants me to do. I'm going to do it. If it closes in with my intrinsic motivation and my purpose, I'm trying to master it, then that's what basically drives me to continue to do everything that I do. And this book was really eye opening for me. I really appreciated it, and it's a good read. Y'all should get on it.